Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer, and today we're going to be getting into the Great Software Reset, which I've been going on about for a while. Sorry, I haven't posted for a while, but I've been working on other stuff. Um, yeah, so today, oh yeah, tech support's coming out Tuesday for that bugger. Close that guy up. Anyway, so the Great Software Reset. So I'm doing a reaction to this guy's video, which he's talking about the same exact stuff I'm talking about. I've got the same number of subscribers as I do. How this the changes that have happened in software development for mid to senior developers, not juniors. This is not helping juniors at all. This is actually hindering juniors, making the lives of juniors actually harder in the long run. But mids and seniors who've already gone beyond that stuff, there's now an opportunity to create the SaaS, the big regional, the big international and huge big tech SaaSes, and bring them down to regional levels all over the world. And that's what we're seeing with these new tools. It takes a lot less engineering, a lot less. You don't have to scale up as big. So we're not talking about making billions of dollars. We're talking about making millions of dollars. So that's the change that's happening, and that's the opportunity that's now in front of us. That these big corporations are using. That's why they fired a lot of people. They see this on the horizon as well, and they're getting ready for it because we're about to take people like me and Robin He are about to take some of their lunch. So let's go ahead and get listening.
To my channel. My name is Robin, and in my last video, I spoke about SaaS ideas, niching down, and localizing to create life-changing opportunities. Today, we're taking that discussion even further and exploring how the entire software industry is on the brink of a massive transformation. Remember how I said we're moving from a supermarket model to a mom and pop shop model in the software world. And
Right, we're moving exactly. That's my whole thing. It's like it's gonna go back from these big conglomerates, which everybody strongly dislikes, to more regional and mom and pop shops. So the mom and pop shop tech company will reappear.
where everyone can become an entrepreneur. Well, get ready, because I think it's happening way faster and more dramatically than I originally thought. Let me paint you a picture of what I mean. Imagine walking down a street lined with specialized boutiques instead of one massive generic department store. Each boutique caters to a specific niche, offering personalized service and unique products. That's the future of SaaS. A landscape filled with specialized micro companies, each solving specific problems for specific audiences. I also believe that the entire software stack is about to be rebuilt.
Yeah, so JetBrains has already shown us this with KMP, Kotlin multi-platform. You can do your iOS, your Android, your web, your desktop. That's Mac, Linux, and Windows. All with the same source code, all with the same UI. You can go and to the web as well, to the web. If I didn't mention that. So if one of the stores blocks you, just switch over to being a web app. Okay, it's not going to get all the things from Apple, whatever, but you'll still be able to have your application running just by switching it over to the web now, or make it a desktop app and deliver it that way. Yeah, the blocking store blocking thing days are very much numbered.
But here's the kicker. It's not going to be done by tech giants. Instead, it's going to be accomplished by army of small companies.
Right. So that's the thing. That's We're not going to hear this on the big mainstream newses about this opportunity until it's already well underway, which will be about 3 years from now. As slices are taken away from these big corporations, they start panicking and start saying something about it because this is what's going on. The same thing that happened uh, uh, with the big mainframe computers, IBM. That was they were huge. They were juggernaut. They were the beast. They were the massive one. You couldn't get through it. But then these microcomputers came in. PDP-11, all these small little basically useless machines, but individual people could get them into their departments and afford them and write their own software on them, and it changed the game. And the big guys did not even see this coming. And by the time they got into it, they had to partner with one of these little tiny mom and pop shops to get going on the microcomputer revolution. But it was started by little people. It wasn't started by big companies. It was hobbyists, small people who were working at these big companies and stuck with their ideas. They couldn't get them through, and they just did them on themselves. And that's what's happening now with this micro SaaS movement, I guess.
Each with just 3 to 12 people. These micro companies are set to topple giants, and here's how they're going to do it. At the core of these new companies, there are two critical decisions that set them apart. First, these companies demand that every team member uses every available tool at their disposal. We're talking about AI, automation, cutting edge tech, everything. And the goal?
Well, or going back, which is what I recommend, to tech that's not cutting edge. real basic stuff like web components. Those are never going to change again. If you write an application using web components, which I have examples on my site, on my GitHub, if you write it with web components, you're never going to have to write it again. It's going to be there the whole time. And if you do this Kotlin KMP and they, get, which I've already done demonstrations of and have public open source repositories showing these projects that I've done on my own. I'm not a super genius programmer. I don't know anything. I didn't know. I just started iOS with using ChatGPT. So I'm using these tools to create these products. And KMP is super exciting because you have one platform for the back end, front end, all the deliverables. Anywhere you want to deploy, you have one language, one set of libraries. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about.
To be 100 or even 200% more productive than the traditional company.
Oh, easily. Instead of having one guy for the back end, front end, iOS, Android, web, you have one guy doing all those. For just small, you don't have to scale it up to billions of people. You can just a few thousand, a few 10,000, 100,000, 200,000 people, tops. You're going to use Redis. You're not going to use some kind of weird cloud structure. You're going to have on-prem, maybe on-prem Redis. You have your server right over there because you have so few customers that they are paying top premium prices for whatever service you're doing, and you're just pulling away. Instead of having a team of 200 or 100, you have a team of 10 or 5. Yeah, that's what's happening.
Imagine a developer who can churn out code at twice the speed, or a designer who can create stunning UIs in half the time.
Or you don't have to create all the UIs. You just create one UI. You don't have to create all the designs for all the different things. You just create it for one thing and then deploy it wherever makes it sense. With one person, one UI framework, one UI toolkit, one library. One. That is such a huge thing because any person that comes into the stack can read the code and change things and look at things and debug things, and everyone can get involved, not just the specialist who gets siloed and he's doing that one thing for 10 years and goes, why does my life suck?
That's the power of leveraging AI and automation tools effectively. Now try to implement this today in established software companies, and you'll likely be met with some sort of resistance. And
they always want to know, well, is it really going to be a thing? Well, I'm deep in the pit in all these technologies: React Native, web components, PWAs, Ionic, all these different kinds. Those were all garbage. Honestly, AMP, they've been working on it a long time. JetBrains this is not just blasted out last week because we had to get something out to get ahead of Facebook. No, they don't care about that. Looks like actually KMP may be the platform of the future where everything's just written in KMP because you're writing the stuff native there, and you get the drop down. It's very simple. It's not this bridge crazy weirdness or going to JavaScript or some other language. It's all in Kotlin. So I'm super excited about this. Go ahead.
Probably laughed out of the door. Their old system just cannot keep up. Right. That's why these new
because what happens is what you're asking them to do when you're asking them to take on these projects, to reduce the workload like this. You ask them to reduce their prestige in these companies who have been built up at this zero interest rate environment. They have been built up and they have their little fiefdoms. And what you're saying is, we're going to take your fiefdom away. We're going to take iOS, Android, and web all on the one team with one person instead of three. Are you really? Oh, no, I don't think so, sir. I don't think so. You're telling me they have to get rid of 3 of my departments and go to 1? No, we're not doing this. So that's why it's not going to come from these big companies. And they are going to fight tooth and nail until it's too late. And that's what's exciting. It's like we get the little comeuppance. Because if people who see this opportunity and aren't so burnt out from this last treadmill that they put us on, if you still have some energy left over to start this thing, it's gonna be the next thing. It'll actually save a lot of the economy. Go ahead.
Agile micro companies have an upper hand. They don't face the same organ rejection. They're built from the ground up to be AI native and hyper efficient. Now, the second decision is to have lean operations. These companies strip away all the traditional.
Well, you don't have to be as efficient if you're trying to go after a smaller market and niche down. You don't have to be, and you're not have as many people. You can save a lot of money when you stop paying for 100 salaries. If you're paying for 7 salaries or 3 salaries, and you don't have this big of a overhead, so you can actually charge more or make more money because how it works out better because the expenses aren't so crazy. Instead of having 5 teams, you got 1.
Corporate infrastructure, no administrative help, no HR or finance departments. Everything that isn't directly related to the.
Yeah, we're talking about bootstrapping here, and bootstrapping until you get to get some traction, and then which you should there's techniques which I should go into about you don't have to build the thing first before you get traction. You can get traction before you build a thing. So I should probably go into that at some point.
Product development is handled by workflows, bots, or AI logic. Think about it. How much time and money is wasted in traditional companies on bureaucracy and red tape?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think customer service workflows may be okay with the AI and like suggestions inside your products for AI, but like a lot of the workflows that are leveraging the current LMs may not be appropriate. But you don't need as many people because you're not going to have as many customers, and you'll be paying attention more to those customers, so you're not going to have as many customer inquiries because you're going to be designing your product for them in mind. See, there's a reason why there's a customer service issue is because the product isn't going and working as well as it should. And you're not meeting the customer needs just because the corporations cannot respond that well. That's why this new style of micro SaaS, you're going to be responding so you don't have to have as many customer increase. When I did my first micro SaaS company back in the 90s, before they even called these things, we had a label for this stuff. It was called DigiFX. I did digital videos, special effects software, and I did it for I worked in tech support for like 5 years before I got into development, right? So I'm listening to people's complaints about what they get into. People are a lot less sophisticated than people assume. Like they're a lot less sophisticated, even now, way more less sophisticated. So if you gear your products for them, for those 80% of the people who are going to be using, if you gear most of your product for them and cut off the paths where any of these problems might occur, and as they do occur, you address them and somehow fix them rapidly, you don't have to have a big customer service department for your issues. Now, if it's part of part of how your product works, well, yeah, it's just part of the cost of doing business. But you know, if you don't have as many problems, you don't have as many inquiries. I don't know how this is. I had so few inquiries in my DigiFX business because I designed everything from the moment they saw my name of my company. They knew exactly what I was about. They knew exactly what they're going to get. And as the moment they opened up the manual, the moment they put the disk in, everything was clear. Drag this here, double click me to install. You know, all of this stuff was like super straightforward. Like you have to be really stupid not to. And I designed it. It's like can we just narrow down so they have they're the funnel through the most successful thing. And that's yeah. So a lot of these products are crap. Everyone knows they're crap, and that's why they have to have these big issues with customers. Okay, I keep going.
In our micro companies, all that goes out of the window. Every person is focused on creating value, not pushing papers. This is only possible in a flat hierarchy where ideas can flow freely and information spread like wildfire. In business, where speed is king, this communication superpower is your secret weapon. No more waiting for memos to trickle down through layers of management.
Well, not the speed; it's the speed of addressing the issue, right? Now, you may not address it properly the right that first time, but getting to it and trying to address it, eventually you're going to work through it somehow, some way. But these big companies, they are just so reluctant to they put the suggestion onto the back pile, the backlog. He's seen, and the customer just goes, and they go, I guess they're not listening because it's been 6 months and the same issue's been there. And then, of course, what they're always looking for now, they're looking for something a little bit better that's going to be paying attention to their needs and paying attention to their wants and pay attention to the product. And that's what we're looking at. That's the opportunity that's happening right now.
Everyone's in the loop all of the time. Now let's talk about the most crucial document in this new world, the PRD, product requirement document. This isn't just any product blueprint. It's an incredibly detailed blueprint of your MVP or minimum viable product. In this new
I don't agree with this 100%, but let's keep going.
paradigm, you're not writing much code yourself. Instead, you're pouring your energy into defining with excruciating details like the exact feature set, the parameters of each feature, user stories, and the use cases. Think of it as creating hyper-detailed architecture.
I mean, you need to have some of this stuff ahead of time, but I don't think you should do this hyper detail part of it. And there's other ways of using other tools to see it before you even build your MVP, even get any code at all. And that's part of the development process, right? Actually, this Microsoft development process is doing these tests. And how do you do them? Well, I should do an episode about that. How do you do a real test before you write any code or start doing any of the stuff? And that's where you have to have a designer. That's why everyone on the team should become a UI designer. It's not that hard. Not that hard. It's not some magical thing. It's just simplifying as much as possible so the average idiot cannot screw it up. So most of the software that we've seen doesn't do this rule, but for MicroSaaS, it's critical because you do not want to have cost center be your customer service. You cannot have that be the catch-all for the things you couldn't figure out the solutions to.
Actual plan before building a house. The more precise your plan is, the smoother the construction process is. Once you have this
Okay, if you already know if you see the opportunity already and you already know, okay, I just need to do this, that may work. But if you're still kind of fishing in the area, you're trying to figure out what in this range of niche of what micro niche do you need to go down into, like how to figure that out. Yeah, but before you even go to the micro SaaS stuff, you do have to see the inefficiencies of another business. That is crucial. So you're gonna have to do some time in the pit. You can't just run into this business without having seen the massive incompetence and massive inefficiencies of these tech companies and the massive silliness that they're all involved in. It's just ridiculous. Like, if people want to do micro-SaaS, you're going to do a hardcore business for several years, and then you're probably going to sell it. Let's be real honest. But yeah, that's without going and seeing what the inefficiencies are and how they're totally leaving thousands or millions of dollars on the table by being ridiculous and just not paying attention to what people are interested in paying for. Yeah, that's all coming to an end for those companies.
hyper detailed product blueprint, you feed it into an AI model, which then spits out the foundational structure.
I don't agree with this. This is still junior mindset thinking that's just not how it works. But if you follow my course on my channel, which is free, and some of the things I've already built, you'll see that you're not going to use. You're going to use AI to write the code, but you still have to write. You have to know how to write code. You're going to have to know how to write software code. I'm sorry, that's not going away. And these AI tools will get you around there. But to get it to the rank fine to the point for the micro SaaS for your niche that you're going into, you're going to have a software developer, and it's going to have to be mid tier to higher who are going to leverage these new tools and not be stuck in a silos. Like, no, I only do back end. No, we're doing full stack all the way through the thing. We're using one language, and we're going to go all the way up and down. Everyone gets involved. We're all using it. Now, some people may be better at suggesting things, but I'm telling you right now, Kotlin is a very sweet language, and they've really thought a lot of this stuff out. And the things they have, the tooling that they have put together, people just haven't figured out what they've got yet, unless they've been paying attention, which is mostly just Android developers who are like, what the hell's going on over here? Like, I can now do iOS development? What? And I don't have to do anything extra? What?
Of the app. You just need to add some final touches and test the code, and voila.
Well, okay, I'm going to disagree with Robin here, but go ahead and subscribe. I'll subscribe to this channel.
You have a working product. This approach.
Yeah, I don't believe that that's going to be that way. But we're going to use these AI tools to build the product much more effectively, much more quicker. Not so much Stack Overflow, not so much trying to figure out what's going on, what's going wrong. A lot of that stuff is going to be cleared out of the way with these ChatGPT tools and all these AI code assist tools. But you still have to know how to do software development. That will not go away, guys.
It's a game changer. With just a fraction of the effort traditionally required, these micro companies can create products that rival and sometimes surpass those of industry giants.
Okay, I agree with that.
Think about it. In this new world, there's no room for investing hundreds of millions into a SaaS company. It just simply doesn't make any sense. Why? Because these small, lean, 3 to 12 person companies can price their products at a fraction of what incumbents charge. The big players are dragged down.
So we already know what kind of works, right? But what slice do we take off? Because we look at the big tech companies, so we already know kind of what the market needs. But what do we need? What can we slice off to these companies and do it in our region and do it for the people to serve them the best, serve them so well that they wouldn't want to go to those other companies, or they'll always be thinking like, can we try this other thing? It's more regional, more local, and there's so much you can do there that the big guys will just never be able to compete with.
By massive operational costs that aren't tied to features, but to maintaining a global infrastructure of 10,000 people across, 10 offices worldwide. All of that becomes obsolete in our new software landscape.
Well, there will still be a place for them, but they're going to be very threatened by this new mom and pop shop micro SaaS. They're going to be threatened by it. So, but they'll still exist to some degree, just like IBM never went away, but it was been totally decimated by all the little companies that ate up a lot of their business, right? So they're just basically using banks and big corporations and airline stuff. That's who they're big irons for. But the little iron took over, right? So that's what's going to happen again.
Like I said, we're moving from a supermarket model to a mom and pop shop model in this micro company revolution. It's small, hyper efficient teams leveraging AI and automation to create powerful specialized software solutions. The software industry is undergoing a seismic shift. The future belongs to agile, AI-powered micro companies that can maneuver and outperform these tech giants. It's a future where efficiency, specialization, and innovative use of AI tools are the keys to success. So, my fellow future entrepreneurs, are you ready to be part of this revolution? Remember, in this new world, you don't need millions in funding or hundreds of employees. All you need is a brilliant idea, a detailed plan, and
Well, you don't even need a detailed plan. Just have an idea. Just need an idea that you would like to test out for a couple weeks or whatever, and you have to have some web development skills to make this happen and to get the right feedback, right? So, and you're gonna have to do multiple experiments before you even start one of these projects, right? And you can do this while still working for your day 9 to 5 job already. But it can, if you quit, you're gonna do a lot faster, right? Because you're gonna be fully dedicated to that. And go ahead.
the courage to leverage AI and every tool at your disposal. Now, if you've been following this channel, you know I'm always advocating for using Laravel and embrace the frameworker mindset.
Right. So he likes the Laravel. I am totally down with KMP, but because KMP is like once you got that one language of Kotlin, you're all over the stack. You're all over multiple stacks. So that's why. So Laravel is just one thing, just the back end, right? Back and a little bit of the front end if you're gonna do the HTML. Okay, yeah. So that's just web stuff, but I'm not talking about web stuff. I'm talking about all platforms.
This approach aligns perfectly with our microcompany revolution. Laravel is an ideal tool for these lean AI-powered teams.
KTOR is the other one that's be similar to this, but it doesn't have. KTOR is pretty much going to be the juggernaut. And the reason why we want to use KTOR, which is the Kotlin backend server thing, is because you have one language on the front and back. The deserialization library is the same. The key value store is the same. All of it's the same. So once you learn one, you don't have to learn a bunch of them, and they're not changing every 5 seconds either. Like JetBrains, like they're the ones doing the ID, the ones running the language. Like they kind of snuck up on people. Like, I mean, what is Google? Why are we using Google? Why are we using Android? Like, why don't we just do a KMP? Like, why don't we just deploy? It's a KMP phone. It's gonna be. I can guarantee you, they're gonna have a KMP phone.
We're talking about. And because the future of software development isn't just about coding, it's about leveraging the right tools and the right framework. And yes, the right AI to build amazing products with small agile teams.
That AI thing.
That's what being frameworker is all about.
It's the code generation stuff that gives so you don't have to go look up all the damn syntax for all this stuff is really ridiculous. Syntax is ridiculous. But like having an assist for that stuff for when you're on like if you have to do some deliberate iOS code, it helps so much with that stuff. Like, but you do have to know how it actually works. You can't get around it.
In this new era. Now I know some of you might be thinking, what about security? What about complex business logic? These are valid concerns, and they're exactly why humans are still crucial in this process.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, AI is still a tool, not a replacement. It's there to handle these heavy lifting and boring tasks, allowing you to focus on what you love, the unique value your creativity brings. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Start thinking about how you can apply these principles to your own projects or business ideas.
Yeah, okay. I think that's enough of that. So yeah, Microsoft's revolution is on, and I'll be doing more videos about it as well as tutorials about KMP and how to write applications and stuff like that. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.